Hello, welcome back to Project S.I.V, where S.I.V stands for Suicide Informational Videos. Here, I inform you about teen suicide. In this video, it will be an interview with somebody that has experienced suicide by having someone in their friends or family commit or attempt suicide.
Figured.
Alrighty, hello, go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I'm Georgia Ketchmark, and you approached me about anybody that I might know that had experience with attempted or had committed suicide. So the closest person to me is one of my children, one of my adult children, and that would be my oldest son. So.
Alrighty, so first question, what kind of emotional impact has this experience had?
It has changed me forever. It's not something that I'll ever. Sorry about that. It's not something that I'll ever forget. His injuries were really terrible, and every year the anniversary kind of comes around, and even though he was not successful and that he's living, and it's just I'll never forget any of that. So yeah.
Alrighty. Was there any physical impact on you?
No. The emotional impact that you have and psychological impact that it causes will, of course, bring about physical impact. It certainly brought about depression and anxiety, which a lot of people, when they experience that, usually get very lethargic and tend to engage in their self-care a little bit less. So for me, that led to some weight gain and the loss of fitness. Yeah, I guess a little bit, but kind of related to everything else.
Was there any financial impact at all?
For us, no, not really. We were actually pretty lucky with that. But it was a kind of a blessing, a curse and a blessing, because we had my son is autistic and has been his whole life, and we applied for benefits for him through the state a long time when he was 5 years old, for SSI and all that kind of stuff, and they delayed paying, and then John was 19 when he attempted suicide, and we happened to find out when he went in to the hospital that our insurance had lapsed. And so they wanted to know what we were going to do about it, and sent a social worker to talk with us. So I told her, I don't know what to tell you. We've applied and we've been delayed all these years. I gave up after a while. And I said, what? And she goes, that's really unfortunate. I said, what are the magic words that I need to say? And so she said, you need to tell me that he has no job, and that he has no insurance, and that he no longer lives with you. So I repeated those words to her. And he wound up being approved for SSI and state medical insurance and everything within 24 hours. So it was something he should have had before. And he got it that day.
Has this experience affected your mental health?
Oh God, yeah. Oh yeah. I now have PTSD. I had to take some time off of work last year So it's, and I mean, it's been 10 years. We just passed the 10-year anniversary of his attempt. And, yeah, it definitely, I mean, anxiety and depression, I don't know what else. I mean, just, well, the PTSD, clearly, it just kind of came to a real head last year. But, yeah, it has definitely affected my mental health. I'm kind of to the point where I really don't know if I'm ever going to never have to worry about, sudden things coming up from the PTSD.
Right. Did you see any signs of this happening?
It's hard to know with him because he has autism. He can't really adequately express his feelings well. He can't construct the language. That's my son's particular affectation with autism. But he did start expressing feelings of hopelessness. And when he did that, he was already in some talk therapy and on some medication, so we made sure that his therapist knew right away. We tried to get him just out and about. We tried to make sure that the family was engaged in more activities and things like that, but I think maybe that might have been a little bit too late. And then just not being able to understand. It can be really hard when autistic persons don't even express their daily living in the way that most people do. So it would be even more different when they're not comfortable, when depression hits, feelings of self-doubt, feelings of worthlessness, of hopelessness. The only way that I really knew is that he actually was able to tell me. He says everything just seems so hopeless. And I was actually really kind of shocked to hear him say it. So, what was your question?
Did you see any signs?
Yeah, so I mean, that was really kind of the best sign we had. There were other behaviors. And I tend to believe that behavior is communication. And so experts still don't really know what all of the behaviors they associate with autistic persons really means. They associate it with neurological imbalance or faulty wiring in the brain, or something that they do for comfort that stimulates the limbic system or this part of the brain or whatever. So it's not really easy to tell for people like John.
And then, how did you feel when you found out?
We thought he was going to die. And his heart did stop a few times. When it's your child, you've given a lot of your time. I don't think there are words for what you give and what you feel towards raising someone, being so responsible for their life 24/7, and loving them so much. That when they become in danger of any kind, whether it's from them or from somebody else, it feels like a part of you is right there, that a part of you is dying, is yeah, I don't know what the words really are. it's, you just kind of want to do what you did when they were a baby, put them in a big blanket and just hold them forever until they stop crying or they stop hurting or the world becomes wonderful for them again. Then you can't do it. And I really don't know how to make that feel any better.
You need a minute to breathe?
No, okay, go ahead.
What has helped you to get to this point? You know, like some coping mechanisms.
Some therapy helped a lot, and that was honestly a little bit. I've been in therapy before, but I've been through a lot of other things, so I kind of thought of myself as a really strong person, and I am a strong person. I know that I've been through a lot, and that I've conquered some other things in life. I think the survival mode for somebody in my position in his life tends to come from just putting one foot in front of the other, taking care of what needs to be done, but the thing that you forget to do is take care of yourself. And taking care of yourself is not just brushing your teeth and taking a shower when you need to, or just getting out in nature and taking a hike once in a while. You need to get somebody. I'm a big fan of therapy. I mean, if you injure a knee or your ankle, you go to physical therapy. And it's very important, and it's very healing. And getting somebody who is outside your circle, who can be objective and kind of remind you, keep you grounded to reality every day, is really, really important. For me, I had friends. Getting through the first part of it were people who just said, "Oh, you're going through tragedy. Here's some food. You don't have to cook tonight." That helped. Some people were actually willing to sit and just listen to me just talk. And then by having some therapy and a very, very dedicated spouse was really helpful. My circle of friends were always really supportive. I think another thing too that I want to say, and I really want to make sure I say it right because I want it to reflect all that I mean behind it, is that a result of this is not just that he has a struggle. I have mine, but the struggle is his, and I don't want, no matter how much I hurt, no matter how much pain I go through, I can't take that away from him, and I would in a second, but I can't. But it is his struggle. And when I say that, it's not just an absolution of my own pain. It's a respect for where he's at. This is his struggle. And I can be there for him. I can do everything that I can. I can make sure that he's got all the tools he needs. Ultimately, it's going to have to be his decision. And I have to live with that. Whatever he manages to do with life, I have to live with that because he is his own man. I will do everything I can. I'll go over there 3 or 4 times a day. I'll read to him, make sure he's fed, make sure he gets meds, make sure he has, I'll listen to him, I'll leave him alone if that's what he needs. But I also really don't want for him to understand that I also struggle, because his struggle is big enough. I don't want to guilt him into not being true to his own struggle by distracting himself with mine. Because my struggle's not his responsibility. So, kind of a balance between self-care, boundary enforcement, and advocacy for him is really kind of how I've gotten to where I'm at right now. And then the support of my friends who were willing to just say, hey, going through pain, you don't have to talk to us unless you want to, just sit next to me on the beach. You know? Let's share some lunch. And sometimes it was a relief to not have to talk about it. To just have another beating heart next to you. Having another person right next to me, it was just like, that was helpful.
Alright, then, you said that it still impacts you to this day. Do you want to more talk about that in any other way?
I think you can kind of see. Like I said, it's just kind of one of the pieces of things that have happened in my life that have kind of led up to PTSD coming up for me, and that I have to deal with it now almost every day. And then when he attempted suicide, it was July 5th, right after we'd had a really nice time on July 4th. So that holiday will never be the same for me. And I really kind of dread summer because of it. So I work really hard at maintaining positivity, and part of PTSD recovery is looking at the whole timeline of your life and putting events on it. And when you look at it that way, it is one blip on the timeline. And there's a whole lot of other things that have happened as well. And most of them not horrific injuries and near-death experiences. So, and it also really kind of, I mean, I've always been sensitive to people who struggle. Struggling's not fun. And I know for me, like I said, sometimes just having somebody with a beating heart sitting next to me helps. I'm more than willing to be that beating heart for somebody else. And I think I hope it's made me a nicer person. I don't know, I hope.
And is there anything else you would like to share?
It's such a big experience, and I'm not even the person who attempted, you know. I don't know that there's enough words really for it. I think I know that my case is probably not typical, because a lot of the people who are, well, I mean, I can't ultimately know what really brought about that urge from my son, because he can't build the language, the words to express it all in depth and detail, the things that, in ways that I would really understand. I suppose that if I wanted anybody else to, and I've considered suicide myself as well. I suppose if I wanted anybody, I've lived long enough to know some important things, and one of those is just that as rare and unique as everyone feels that their experiences are, and they are to the person, is that there are so many other people out there that are hurting too, that feel the same, that are fighting the same struggle. Maybe it's not exactly the same struggle, it's not exactly the same people, but there are people out there with autism who can't figure out how to relate to the world. There are people out there who are trans, who are trying to figure out how they fit into the world. There's, or how to just put one foot in front of the other every day. There's people out there who are trying to figure out who they love and why nobody seems to love them. And that so many people feel this way. And they're,
Keep going. Okay.
it's just that they're, it's having those feelings is such a very permanent solution to problems that, even if they're not temporary, that there are times when they're bigger problems than they are assets. And really everything about a person has something to offer in the way of being an asset. Just doesn't always look like it. Doesn't always feel like it. And it does get better. It really does get better. And it's really hard. It can be really, really hard. But, geez, the time when I considered suicide myself, I was 21. And so I'm here 32 years later. And I'm glad. Because there's a whole lot more and it's better. And just keep fighting. I guess if anybody were to ask me what to do, you just have to keep on fighting to find somebody who's going to help you. Keep asking. Just because it's a feeling that you have in your head and in your heart and in your gut and the pain in your body, you can get past it. It can take time to get past it, but you can get past it. And there are people who care and who will love you, even if they don't even know you, but they will love you. So, yeah, that's it, I guess.
Thanks for watching another Project S.I.V video. I hope you learned something and shared what you did to others. If you like this video, leave a like and subscribe if you want. Until next, oh, by the way, suicide hotlines in the description. Anyways, until next time, have a wonderful day in life. Bye.